great guy, leader, partner, the king, Mr. Kevin King. Kevin is doing our segment today, our Making the Call segment. Awesome. It is called Tone Zone, the art and science behind clear communication.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Hey, shout out to everybody out there. Wake up. Stop doing your other little texting things. Pay attention, okay? I love you guys, every one of you, out there in HST land. So, listen, today we're going to be going over what's called Tone Zone, the art and science of clear communication. So it's really important. What's the purpose of this? Here's what I'm going to ask you a couple questions. How much money and time are we losing because we don't communicate clearly? The second question is, what dollar amount of residuals do we lose every day by not understanding what others are saying? See, when we understand what others are saying and we can communicate clearly to other people, we're going to separate ourselves right there. Right? Doesn't matter if it's a $5 lead or if it's a referral. You can get a referral and still mess that up royally by not clearly communicating to somebody. Okay? Just because it's a referral doesn't mean, oh, I got the sale. No, we have to sometimes work harder because the expectation is higher, right? That's really important that we do that. So we're going to get into this. There's a study. It was a book by Darlene Price. I didn't read the whole thing. I did read just excerpts. I thought this was a really interesting quote. In some studies, nonverbal communication has been shown to carry between 65 and 93% more impact than the actual words spoken, especially when the message involves emotional meaning and attitudes. Think about that. Imagine your coworker coming in from the day. She's tight-lipped. She's red-faced. She takes her purse. She slams it on the desk, sits down, and looks out the window. And you say, "How you doing?" And she says, "I'm fine." Now, what message do you believe? Do you believe the nonverbal communication, which is the behavior, the tone, or do you believe the verbal communication, which is the actual word, okay? We know what we're doing. It's really important. This is key because you can say the right things. You can position yourselves with doing the right things and saying the right things, but if you're talking like, "Hi, my name is Kevin. I'm with HST. We do health insurance. I understand you are looking for health insurance." Right, exactly. Right? The first year and a half I was here, we did nothing with Jim Novak but do role play. That's all we did. We sat around a big table and they said, "Hello, my name is Kevin King. I'm with HST. What can I do for you?" It took sometimes 3, 4, 5, 10, 20, 30 times for people to get comfortable. I would really recommend you do just that until you believe what your friends around the table are saying. Get your group together. As if you're a leader, if you want to be a leader, if it's just two people, if it's just you and your spouse is there supporting you, say, "Listen, does this sound convincing? Does my personality come across? Okay, Tino's going to be different from me. Paul's going to be different from me. Gene's going to be different. Bob's going to be different. Joe's going to be different. Beata's different." Listen, we all have to communicate who we are. You can't pretend to be somebody else. Okay? Don't pretend to be somebody else. The tone is going to be coming through, right? If I try to be somebody else other than I am, that's going to come through. And it's not going to sound genuine. They may not know. Going back to this, they may not know, okay? They may not know why. They just know they don't want to do business with you because there's a tone that they don't get. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay? I want you to start writing down questions. We're not going to have a lot of time to do this, but I want you to think of general questions that apply to absolutely everybody in HST land, okay? If you have a specific question that doesn't apply to everybody, see me afterwards. But I want you to write down your questions Clearly communicate those questions when we have a time to do that, and we'll be moving on. So why effective communication skills are so important? The first thing is effective communication skills are key in health and social care because they help you to establish and develop relationships with your clients. It's sometimes the obvious things that aren't so obvious in the way we sound. It's really important. So why do I say health and social care? I was looking online at Stonebridge College in the UK and how they train their healthcare and social care professionals. We have to position ourselves as a professional that's asking questions. It's the same way you go into a doctor's office. You walk into a doctor's office, you're going in for a checkup, right? And if you walk in, they sit down, and if the doctor goes, okay, so now's the time where you have to take off your clothes and then put on the, just put on this thing, I'll be back in a minute. Okay, you're in the parking lot by now, right? Right? Because you're like, now I'm freaked. I was not freaked before, but now I am freaked. What does the doctor do? Take your clothes off, put this on, I'll be back in 2 minutes, knock when you're ready. Done. It's done. You know why you're there. It's not a question, but it's taken all the mystery out of what's going on. People know why they're there. They're looking for health insurance. Position yourself just like a medical doctor, a professional, a psychiatrist with somebody coming in to asking for advice. That's how we must position ourselves. Jim Novak said, you need to step on stage. Every time you pick up the phone, you're the psychiatrist, they're the patient, they're coming to you, you're asking the questions. So you need to be ready with the questions and the tone, right? It's not like, well, do you kind of possibly have something in your past that might affect the way that we underwrite the plan that we might be getting through? What? It's, listen, in the last 5 years, are there any major medical issues I need to be aware of or any medications you're taking on a monthly basis? Just like that, just as easy as possible. But you know, sometimes you have to script it out and read it 100 times until it's just second nature, right? And the tone you bring across will make all the difference in the world. Moving on. Okay. Why effective communication skills are important. They're also important when providing and requesting information. We just covered that. Really important. The other thing is, in some cases, you may experience barriers as you try to communicate. How many people have ever had a barrier in communication with anybody at any time? Only half the room? Come on, the other half are lying. All right.
All men should pick up their hands.
That's right. That's right. It's really important. It can be caused by a number of factors, a lack of understanding or inaccurate or incorrect information. So let's look at overcoming barriers to communication. We need to make changes to the environment. Make changes to the environment. That could be something as simple as the phone you're using. Okay? I'm not saying go buy a new phone. Please don't hear me say that. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. But the headset. How many people use a headset when you're calling, right? Make sure it's a good headset. You know how you do that? Put the headset on, plug it in, call your leader, right? Set up a time and call your leader. Make sure that it's clear. There's times when Jim said, Kevin, I can't hear you. Oh, it sounds like it's the microphone was just too far away. It's really important that we take care of that. What else? We need to keep background noise to a minimum. This is really important. We may be able to tune it out. Other people may be picking up something. And by the way, when you're making a call and you hear background noises like, hey, mommy, okay, acknowledge it. Acknowledge it. Clear communication doesn't mean you're going through your speech or your pre-planned whatever simply because you got somebody on the phone. Yes, I got somebody on the phone finally. They're going to talk to me. And you're just going to run through this. You're just going to go bowl right over them. If you hear a little voice in the background, stop and say, hey, who's that? Oh, that's Billy. Billy, how old's Billy? Oh, he's 2. I'm sorry. No. Do you need to take care of that? Do we need to reschedule? If you feel it, say it. Listen, you're the advisor. You're acknowledging reality that's there and make it part of the conversation. Do you realize you're going to go deeper because you make that? And it's acknowledging you have to listen as much as you need to communicate. Really important. Does that make sense? Oh, yeah. Acknowledge it, right? and say, yeah, actually, it would be a better time if you called me tonight at 7:30. Is that when Billy goes to bed? Actually, it's about a half an hour after Billy goes to bed. Good. Oh, I'm so relieved. Thank you for telling me. Say what they're feeling. Say what they're feeling. Get into their heads, get into their hearts, and then say it, okay? The next thing is speak their language. Think about who you're talking to. If you're talking to somebody who's like, hey, who's this? I'm like, hey, it's Kevin. What's going on, man? I've said that before to people, and they're like, oh, awesome. Where did we meet? Man, I don't know. When did we meet? I'm going along with it, man. Oh, I don't know. Hey, listen, I got your name across my desk. Looks like you were looking for some help with your health insurance. Is that right? Yeah. Awesome. Tell me your story, dude. I've said that to people. They're like, yeah. And they go right on. Okay, I know there's a few. How many people have ever had people like me on their phone? Oh, my goodness. It's fun. Hey, you gotta reel those people in, though, okay? Because they'll just go overtime. I know it, because I can, too. But if you're talking to somebody who's like, hello? Don't go in, hey, it's Kevin King. How you doing? Right? No, it's, hello? Hi. Is this Jane? It is. Jane, it's Kevin with Healthcare Solutions team. Looks like you were looking for some help with your health insurance. Is that right? Yeah. Okay. Can you tell me your story? Yeah, I would. Okay? You have to adapt. If you got somebody who's like, hello? Yeah, this is Jim, Kevin King, Healthcare Solutions team. Is this a good time or should we call back? I can tell somebody doesn't have time. Should we reschedule or is this a good time? No. Who is this? Kevin King, Healthcare Solutions. You were looking for health insurance. What were you hoping I could do for you? Yeah, now's not good. When's good? 2 o'clock. Can't do it. 2:15? Done. Okay, see you then. Click. Move on, right? And you got some people want all the information in the world. You got to keep tabs on that too. We're going to move on here. Speak clearly and slowly and listen carefully. Make sure that your message is coming across clearly and that the person you're communicating with understands you. There's no harm in speaking more slowly or repeating or rephrasing. Now, I'm doing a little bit over the top here, but here's a couple phrases, if you can see this. Does that make sense? I said that on Saturday to a lady. I said, does that make sense? No. Okay, what part doesn't make sense? Where did I leave you off? I'm sorry. I feel like, obviously, I'm on page 6, you're on page 2. Right. So, and I went back, clarified it. I said, does that help or not so much? She says, no, that helps. Now I understand why I need that critical illness policy. Right. Okay, and then we're moving on. When we position ourselves correctly and we control the conversation through asking key questions, we help the prospect make an educated choice. They close themselves. I say, if it's clear, we close. If it's not clear, you, listen, will not close. If it's clear to them, they will close. That's all I've got. Is there anybody that has, we have time for maybe one question, 2 questions, general questions that applies to everybody in HST land. Questions? It was clear?
Wow.
Did it work? Oh my goodness. It's all you guys. Rock on.